Alright guys, how's it going? Happy Monday. Today we're going to talk about integer exponents. This is 1.4. Also be on the lookout for this week. I will send out Hawks information and pretty much any homework we have from here on out, not all the time, but pretty much will be a Hawks assignment. I'll kind of explain how to set that up. So the first thing to go over whenever we do exponents is all the rules, all the properties. Alright, so if I have x to the third, y to the seventh, z to the second, and I say to the 0 power, alright, as long as that's everything's inside parentheses and it's raised to the 0 power, anything to the 0 power is 1. Negative exponent rule, alright, so if I have 3 to the negative second, that's going to equal 1 over 3 squared, which is 1/9. Or vice versa, if I have 1 over 3 to the negative second, that equals 3 to the second, which equals 9. So what you have to do here, if you have a negative exponent, if it's just a base with a negative exponent, you put it under 1. If it's already under 1, you flip it, and now it becomes on top, and there's a 1 under it. All right, you're dividing by 1, which would just be itself. So that rule works both ways. Product rule, if they have the same base and I'm multiplying, then you add them. So I'd add my exponents, get x to the 7th. Quotient rule, if they have the same base, I take the top minus the bottom. Another way to think about it is just where's the bigger number. Right, so I'll do two examples here. So if I had x to the 4th x squared over x squared, that's the first one, I would take 4 minus 2, which would be x squared. Notice that the 4 is bigger on top. Whereas the second one, if it's bigger on bottom, you're still doing 4 minus 2, but the x squared goes on bottom. So it's just wherever the bigger number is, as long as it's positive. Power rule. If you have an exponent raised to another power, okay, you multiply. So this would be x to the 6th. Distribution rule is no matter what I have, okay, it goes to everything. So 3 has an exponent of 1, but now I multiply 1 times 3 to get 3 to the 3rd. X squared times 3, so 2 times 3 would give me x to the 6th. Okay, it works the same way if you have a quotient or a fraction. It goes to everything on the inside. Alright, so that's all the properties. The big thing, guys, is whenever you're doing this, I just like to do get rid of my negative exponents, but it's kind of depending on the problem. So like this one's the power rule. I'm going to multiply these two. I get x to the negative 18th. I can't have negative exponents, so I put it under 1 to make it positive, and that would be my answer. Alright, this one I just put on here because it's very important that you know how to type it into your calculator. Notice there's no parentheses around the first one, around the negative 4, so that makes a big difference. Alright, so if I type this in, I would do 4 to the 6th, which I'm going to take my own calculator. You get 4,096. However, there's a negative on the outside, so you multiply by a negative. The answer would be negative 4,096. But if I put it in parentheses, right, that's negative 4 times 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 negative 4, you get a positive 4,096 because the negatives cancel out. So just be careful of that. This one, also be careful of. Notice the x to the 0. Alright, anything to the 0 power is 1, but that means 6 times 1. Okay, because it is 6 times x to the 0, which would be 6. This one, what I like to do, I'm just going to go ahead and flip them both. Right, they're negative exponents, so I just change it from top to bottom or bottom to top, vice versa. So they have the same base, base 3. Their exponent is 3 on top, 4 on bottom. So you're going to do subtraction. Again, I like to just do where the bigger exponent is without actually doing subtraction. So 4 minus 3, 4 is bigger on bottom, so it's 3 to the 1st. So your answer is 1/3. Alright, so that's just some examples. Those are kind of the basic ones. But then we get into the more complex ones, which look like this. what I would do if you see something like this, I would convert all of my exponents to positive exponents. So the b to the 6 is positive, so it stays there. However, the b to the negative second on bottom needs to become positive. So to make it positive, I put it on top. Same way with the s to the negative fifth and s to the negative third. The s to the negative fifth needs to go on bottom to make it positive. S to the negative third needs to go on top to make it positive. So now I can combine. These are the same base. I'm multiplying, so I add the exponents. This one, same base. I'm going to subtract. Notice the 5 is bigger, so 5 minus 3 would give me s to the second. This one, a lot of people forget that the exponent here is 1, so 5 plus 1 when you multiply, you add, is g to the 6. If you have a power to a power, you're multiplying. Negative 2 times negative 7 is a positive 14, so I get x to the 14th. Now this one is probably one of the more difficult ones because this exponent goes to every single thing on the inside. So I would do that first. So 5 squared, x to the 6 because I take 3 times 2, and y to the negative 4 because I take 2 times 2. Alright, now you got to simplify. 5 squared is 25. In order to make my y to the negative 4th positive, I move it to the top side, and I also have x to the 6. I'm just going to rewrite it with the x first, but there's nothing else you can do, so that would be your answer. This one, if it's negative second, it's just to the x, so I'm going to move the x on top and leave the negative 3 on bottom. As we keep going, if you have a fraction, make sure you simplify it. 12 divided by 4 would be 3. So that goes on top. I have a to the third. That one's good. However, my a to the negative second needs to move to the top to make it positive. B to the negative 4th. In order to make it positive, move it to the bottom. And there's already a b down there. So now I'm going to combine like terms. I have 3a to the 5th, b to the 5th. All right, as we get into some more difficult ones, again, anytime you have a power to a power, I would do that first. So I'm going to rewrite this. I have x squared on the outside times, that's x to the 8th, y to the 12th. On the bottom side, that's to the 5th power, that's to the 5th power. So 4 to the 5th, x to the 30th, y to the negative second. So now we rewrite it, simplify, and make your exponents positive. All right, so on top, I can combine those. That's x to the 10th, y to the 12th. I'm going to move this negative second up top, make it y squared. 4 to the 5th is 1024, and I have x to the 30th. All right, got to keep going. If I combine the tops, I have x to the 10th, y to the 14th, over 1024, x to the 30th. Now I got to combine my x's. All right, so 30 minus 10 is 20. The 20 is going to go on bottom because that's where the bigger number was. So that's my answer. All right, last one. Again, I would do this first. You can go ahead and rewrite the x to the negative 10th on bottom if you want. So I'm going to take 3 times 2, get x to the 6. 1 times 3, get y to the 3rd. I'm going to rewrite my x to the 10th on bottom. Y to the 4th, z. I just rewrote it in the alphabetical order. All right, if you go from there, combining like terms, you can simplify these. Notice there's nothing left on top. If there's nothing on top, I put a 1 as a placeholder. 6, this would be x to the 4th because 10 minus 6 is 4. 4 minus 3 would be 1. You don't have to write the 1. You can though. So I have y, z. All right. That's pretty much it. So there are 3 problems here. We'll go over these as well. If I do this one, go ahead and do the 4th first. All right, so I have 3 to the 4th, y to the negative 16th, z to the 12th. Now that's all to the negative 1st. So what I would do is distribute the negative 1 now. So I have 3 to the negative 4th, y to the 16th, z to the negative 12th. Now to make it positive, right, y to the 16th is going to stay on top because it's already positive. 3 to the 4th has to be moved to the bottom. Z to the 12th has to be moved to the bottom to make it positive. When you do this, 3 to the 4th is 81. So go ahead and simplify it as z to the 12th. This one I'm just subtracting. 12 minus 2. You get into the 10th on bottom. This one I'm simplifying. Okay, 5 goes into both of those. So that becomes 5/3. 3 minus 1 would be a to the second on top. B, 4 minus 2 would be b to the second on bottom. And then your c's cancel out. So that's your final answer. All right. If you guys have any questions, let me know. The homework assignment should be in your assignment to-do list. Again, I hope to have the Hawk stuff out this week, so don't worry about it if you don't have it filled out yet, but we will get there to where you can start on Hawks. All right. Have a good day, guys.